Angular is all about components. Let's bring down all of what we've learned about building a component. We create a class for the component with code to support the view. We use a decorator to define the component metadata, which includes the HTML for the component's template. And we import what we need from any third-party library, from more modules, or from Angular itself. When creating the component class, we give it a clear name. This is not only the name of the class, but the name of the component as well. Be sure to watch the casing since JavaScript is case-sensitive. By convention, use Pascal casing, where every word of the name is capitalized. It's also a convention to append component to the end of the class name to make it clear that it is a component class. Be sure to include the export keyword on the class signature. Remember what the export keyword does. It makes the class accessible to be imported by other parts of the application. If the component view displays data, such as a title, the data element is defined as a property of the class. To leverage TypeScript strong typing, be certain to set the appropriate data type for each property and set a default value where appropriate. Use camel case for property names, with the first letter of the first word in lowercase and additional words capitalized with no spaces. If the component view has functionality, like hiding and showing an image for instance, the logic is defined as methods in the class. Use camel case for method names as well. Let's review creating metadata for a component. Remember, we use a decorator to define the metadata for a component. A class is not a component unless it has a component decorator. Be sure to prefix the decorator with an @ symbol. As the decorator is a function, be sure to add parentheses and pass in the appropriate object properties. Use the selector property to define the name of the component when used as a directive in HTML. Be certain to prefix the selector for clarity. Remember that the selector property is not needed if the component is not used in any HTML, as we'll see later in this course. Use the template property in the component metadata to define the view's HTML. Since we define the HTML in a string literal, we often get no IntelliSense or syntax checking in the IDE, so take care in coding the correct HTML syntax. We'll get into different ways to create the template for a component in the next section. Let's look at the import statement once again. The import statement tells Angular where to find the members that this component needs from any external modules. The import statement requires the import keyword, followed by the member name and module path. Take care when defining the member name, as it is case-sensitive. The path to the module file must be enclosed in quotes and is also case-sensitive. Don't forget that we don't need to specify the file extension. In this section, we detailed what a component is and how to build one by creating a component class, defining the metadata, and importing what we need. And we discovered how to bootstrap the component we built to get our application up and running. Let's look again at our application diagram. In this section, we built the app component and have the base of our application working. Next, we'll look at other ways to work with templates and how Angular 2's binding and directives work within them. We'll also build a new component for use in our course project.